Yo, what's up world? It's your boy Philochko here. You know that American dude with the incredible move that got the echo going like crazy? That's me. And what am I making a video about today? Well, today I'm making a video, a special video, mostly for Americans about obtaining a Russian visa. That's right. It's very common to hear about Russians trying to get an American visa, and when they try to get the American visa, a lot of them get denied, they might get rejected and stuff like that, so they move over for the pictures. And that's what we usually hear about, and some of them get it, and that's what we usually hear about, but it's not that common to hear about Americans getting Russian visas. I had a friend recently who got his Russian visa about a month and a half ago, Danila Petrovich, as he likes to call himself, and now he's in Russia. He was in Moscow, then Kaliningrad. He might be back in Russia by now, but I'm waiting for him to contact me again. So he's from Los Angeles and he's here in Russia. And he has an interesting history, which I will mention because it's relevant to what I'm going to talk about, okay? So, he got his Russian visa. Me, as myself, I had 4 of them. Well, they're not all like relevant right now. I had 2, then another one, then there's one that I'm using right now. So if you're an American and you're thinking about obtaining a Russian visa, or if you're a Russian person with an American friend, American boyfriend, or anything like that, and this person is thinking of obtaining a Russian visa, you should send them to this video because it'll be very helpful. I'm trying to get more Americans on this channel. I know they don't need to know English, but maybe I could teach some things about Russian culture from an American's perspective, especially a Black American's perspective. There's not that many of us out here. So first thing first, if you want to get a Russian visa, you have to know what you want to do when you're in Russia. That's the first thing. One Russian visa, the most common, is the tourist visa. Now, when I got my tourist visa, it was like, this was maybe 4 years ago, the first one I got. And it was like 30 days. You could be here for no longer than 30 days, something like that. So I had 2 of those. I did the whole, I was here for 2 weeks, then I came back and I was a different visa for 3 weeks. Then I got a longer one. This was maybe 3 years back. I got a 6-month tourist visa. And I was here for about, I don't know, maybe 4 of those months, something like that. But the best one to get, which is new, I think they implemented this law around 2013 or something. There's the most common Russian visa for people who want to stay for a while, and it's a 3-year multi-entry visa. 3-year multi-entry visa. Even though it's a 3-year multi-entry visa, you, listen carefully, you cannot stay more than 6 months straight in the Russian Federation. Yes, it's 3 years, but you cannot stay more than 6 months straight in the Russian Federation. So what does that mean? That means your ass, before you're here for 6 months straight, you have to leave the country for either 1 day, 1 second, whatever, and come back, then your 6 months has restarted. You're still on that 3-year time restriction, no longer than 3 years, because that's when the visa is valid, but you gotta start all over again when it comes to your 6-month stay. So let's say I'm here, I have a 3-year multi-entry business visa. If I'm here for the whole 3 years, that means I have to leave 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5, I have to leave at least like 6 times. You know what I mean? 2 times the first year, 2 times the next year, 2 times the next year, 5 or 6 times I have to leave. I cannot stay here that whole entire time. So last visa run I did was to Kazakhstan. Here in Novosibirsk, we're very close to Kazakhstan, so it's easy to take a train and take a train back to Novosibirsk. If you're in Moscow, it's easy to go to Ukraine, and if you're American, you don't need a visa to go to Ukraine. You do not need a visa. You just go to Ukraine, come right back. You might have some questions at the border, because I've been through that. Let me go through that now. Russia and Ukraine, they're kind of going through a little situation. So when I was in Kaliningrad, I was with my managers in Kaliningrad, and we did this before. We took me from Kaliningrad to Poland, because Kaliningrad is a part of Russia that's not close to Russia. It's like in the middle of, not in the middle, but it's kind of like in Europe. So it's surrounded by Lithuania and Poland, I believe, something like that. But basically, if you live in Kaliningrad or you are in Kaliningrad, it's easy to go to Europe, very simple. It's a short drive, it's very, very short, and Kaliningrad isn't very big. So the first time we did it was before the Russia and Ukraine situation. It was simple, easy, it was very fast. But the last time we did it was maybe like 8 months ago or something. This was after the Russia-Ukraine situation. When I was leaving the country, it was a little bit of time, whatever, but on the way back in, they were really going over my passport. I think it was maybe 2 hours. We had to stand there and wait. Then they started asking me questions, and the questions they wanted to know. And it was the same people that saw me 2 years ago when I did it. It was the same lady, just one lady. She remembered me. But back then, I hadn't been to Ukraine yet. So now I've been to Ukraine, and she's like, what were you doing in Ukraine? So going to Ukraine might cause some issues at the border, it might, but there's no law like if you go to Ukraine, you come back into Russia. No, it's not like that. They just might be a little cautious of you because you're an American who's been to Ukraine and now you're coming to Russia. It just looks strange. It just looks strange because it's not that common, you know. And the things I'm telling you now are things that Russians don't know and Ukrainians don't know because they're not American. So me being American, I understand it, and these, you know, the customs agents are kind of like, you know, it's a little strange, what are you doing? And so I was like, hey, Google it. You can see I was there teaching English, I'm here doing speaking clubs with people and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So all that's okay. And they allowed me in, but I'm a little afraid to go back to Ukraine while I'm on this visa because I don't want problems again. I'm scared that they might not let me in because they might think I'm a spy or something. I don't know. So it's a little nerve-wracking going to Ukraine, they're coming back into Russia because they will most likely ask you about that. So that's that, right? That's resetting the visa. So let's get to getting the visa when you're in America. If you're in New York, one of the best places to go is called Royalty Travels. It's on 88 Maiden Lane in New York City, Manhattan, of course. And these people are very funny. There's nothing but girls who work in there, maybe one guy, but it's mostly women. No babushki, just like regular women. And when I went there the first time, because I got 4 visas from them. When I went there the first time, you know, when I walked in there, they're just kind of like, you know, just what the hell? Like this was 2012. You know, I'm telling you, Russia gets better as the years go when it comes to race relations and stuff like that. 'Cause, you know, 4 years ago, it was different than it is now. It was different 4 years ago, right? Or 3.5, whatever. So when I went in there, you know, to get the visa, the reaction was kind of like, what the, you know, they were just kind of surprised and thrown off. And I was like, hey, I want to get a visa to go to Russia. And they're like, you want to go to Russia? I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Russia. And they're like, okay. So what's funny is when you're an American, when you're a Russian trying to get the American visa, it's difficult. When you're an American trying to get a Russian visa, it's difficult to convince them that you actually want to go. So when you're a Russian looking for an American visa, it's like, why should we give this to you? We're not sure we should give this to you. But when I go to get a visa, it's like, are you sure you want it? Are you sure? It's easy for you to get, but are you sure? Think about it. So they were just kind of skeptical on whether it was good for me to go. It's easy to get the visa. If you're an American going to Russia, it's easy. They're just kind of skeptical, but when you're getting a tourist visa, they don't ask that many questions. It's very easy getting a tourist visa. I have 3 of them. Now they're no longer valid. Now I have a business visa. So when you get a business visa, it's a little different because then they have some questions for you. They want to know what cities are you trying to do business in and stuff like that. And the best thing about getting a tourist and a business visa is that you don't need an invite. If you get a work visa, well, you don't need to watch my videos because odds are if you're getting a work visa, this video, if you're getting a work visa, you're being invited, most likely. When you get the work visa, it's by invite, so you don't need this video. But getting a tourist or business visa is completely independent, so you don't need it. You don't need an invite. So, I forgot where I was going with this. So yeah, now that I'm on the business visa, or when you get it, they ask you questions about what cities you're gonna go to. I didn't have much of an issue. I don't think you guys are going to have an issue. You just write what cities you're interested in doing business in and what kind of business you have, what's your profession, you know. Then they're going to want to ask you about if you have a criminal record. I don't have a criminal record in America at all. I've never been to jail or anything like that. But I have some friends who came to Russia and some of them have been in prison and they still got the visa. So it doesn't mean they're going to deny you because you've been in prison. I think they only deny you if you like killed somebody or something like that, they might deny you. But if you got caught maybe selling drugs or selling guns or maybe fighting or something like that, I think they'll still let you in. But if you got a murder or something like that, they might deny you if you're a killer or something. But other than that, they're not really going to deny you. But if you're an American, you've never been to prison, they're not going to deny you. They're not going to deny you. Like, I don't know anyone who's ever been denied a Russian visa because it's not that common that Americans get Russian visas anyway. And how much does it cost? Well, the multi-entry business visa is like, for 3 years, it cost me like $450. $450. So it's a good investment. It's a good investment. You know, if you come here to do some business, it's a good visa to get. You know, if you don't want to work for somebody, you want to work for yourself and stuff like that. It's a good visa. It's a good visa to get. What else? Well, things you should do before you actually come to Russia. This may sound weird, and I know Russians won't understand it, but you don't need to know how to speak Russian too much, but it's really good for you to know how to read it. It's very important for you to know how to read it. Like, how do I explain? When I first came to Russia, I didn't really speak much. But if you want to do anything on your own, it's good to, of course, understand as much as possible and speak as much as possible. But if you don't, train yourself to read it and understand the characters. Because if you talk to someone, Russians usually aren't that helpful. But let's say, for example, you talk to someone and you're like, I need glasses. Where glasses? Where can I get glasses? And she goes, opteka, opteka, and just points in a direction. You have to be able to read it and see which one could be opteka or optica, because there's two of them. And I don't even know how to explain the difference in pronunciation. I just know the differences when I read them. One kind of says opteka, and the other one kind of says apteka. The opteka is for eyes, and the apteka is for, health drugs, like medicine and shit like that, you know? So if you hear someone say something, you're like, oh, okay, you know to look for what it sounds like. It's really important to know how to read Russian because everything's written in Russian. Metro stuff written in Russian. You have to learn how to read Russian. Even if you don't know how to understand it, you have to know how to pronounce Russian characters. It's very important. You have to know how to pronounce those characters. It will save your freaking life. You know, you gotta read the maps and Google, Tugis, whatever, maybe that's in English, but things you see outside, they're in Russian. They are in Russian. You know, you can see Papa John's, but only if you understand how to read Russian. You know, so it's important for you to know how to read and pronounce the Russian characters. That is the first step, people. It is the first step. First step. Trust me, okay? What else do I need to mention? If you're planning on coming over here for a non-business reason, you just want to do tourism, just go ahead, get a tourist visa. It's much easier, it's faster, it's simpler. You can get a tourist visa, but you have to be careful. On a tourist visa, you're not allowed to do certain things. I got in trouble for this once. You're not allowed to, legally, you're not allowed to have like speaking clubs, and you're not allowed to have like any sort of gathering. You're supposed to just be touring, not like bringing people to you or whatever like that. Anything that looks like you're doing business would be dangerous for you if you're on a tourist visa. So if you're on a tourist visa, I wouldn't really mess with that because it's not a good idea, because the Russian, I forgot what they call it, might come after you and whatever. And they could deport you for it. A lot of Americans have been deported for doing certain things on tourist visas. You can look it up on Google, whatever. A lot of them were. I wasn't deported though because I knew people, and Russia's a lot about who you know. It's a lot about who you know, and if you know the right people, not saying you get away with things, but they will help you in your time of need. You understand? So it's good to make those powerful connections in Russia. It's very, very important. It doesn't matter you're American. People aren't going to say, oh, he's American, we'll be nice. Nah, it doesn't work that way. You got to know the right people when you need them. And I guess that's really it. I think I mentioned everything. How much do the tourist visas cost? I honestly don't know anymore. And if you're planning on, let's one more example. This happens a lot. There's an invitation visa too. I've never gotten this, but let's say there's a woman in Russia who really, really likes you, and she wants to bring you out to America. There's a Russian woman who really, really likes you, and she wants to bring you out to Russia. Well, she can do that. She has to invite you, and you have to come here, and you are kind of her responsibility. So like when you do something wrong, they go look in her apartment for you. So you're kind of her responsibility when you're here on invitation visa. And just like the tourist visa, I don't believe you're allowed to do any business on the invitation visa. You're not allowed to. You gotta only, spend time with your woman or whatever it is, or your man, whatever it may be. And last thing before I go, registering the visa. Let me explain this to you. No matter what visa you have to register. Sometimes it's not even your responsibility. It's the owner of the apartment's responsibility, your business's responsibility, but whatever, screw that, make it your responsibility. When you arrive in Russia, you have 7 business days. 7 business days to register your visa. What does that mean? Well, if you come here in, this is how it is now. It's a little different 4 years ago, but this is how it is now. When you come to Russia, if you come to a hotel, that hotel will register you every day you're at the hotel. But once you leave that hotel, you're not registered there anymore. The next day, you'll be unregistered. So what do you have to do? You have to go to UFMS, which is an immigration office, or you have to go to any post office. And if you're staying with the person, you live with the person, they can register you at their apartment for 3 months. You'll be registered for 3 months straight. What does that mean? Before those 3 months end, you gotta go register either somewhere else or try to register there again. I don't know, because apparently you can't really register at the same place twice in a row. The rules are very shaky with that. So basically it's kind of weird. You can stay for 6 months straight, but they only register you with someone else that you live with for 3 months. So it's very shaky. So if you have your own place, the owner could probably register you for 6 months. That's possible. When you're staying under someone else, I believe it's only 3 months. So with that one, you gotta really research that. But if you have friends, they have no problem letting you stay with them and letting you register under them. It's very simple. Some people even come to Russia. You can walk in the office, see somebody and say, hey, I'll pay you to register me. Some people do that. The main reason for you registering is because if something happens, they have to know where to find you. That's what the registering is about. They have to know where to find you, okay? So you have to register within 7 business days of arriving in the Russian Federation. So if you don't stay for 7 business days, don't register. Just leave before the time's over. Now I believe I covered everything. So, I've been through all these crazy things. I've registered once 5 months late. How did I do that? I pulled it off, long story. But I registered 5 months late, And I don't suggest anybody to do that because it could get you in a lot of trouble. So that's really it, people. Hope you guys understood everything. I tried to throw things out there, but hey, I have a general understanding. Don't listen to me and take it as 100%. What I advise you to do is go to not FBI. Now I look like a spy. Go to any American government website and look up the rules and stuff. Or even go to a Russian one. Look up the rules with immigration, registration, visa processing, all that stuff. Just go look it up. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of what I told you, but I just know the general ideas. But what you need to understand is in Russia, laws change quickly. They change fast. So you got to go look at it. Something may have been something yesterday, but today it's different. Laws in Russia change so fast. I remember when in Russia, just like maybe 2 years back, you could smoke in clubs and bars. You could just smoke wherever you wanted. I left Russia for like 5 minutes. I think I went to Cyprus and Budapest, came back, it was illegal. And there was a humongous fine for it. I was like, whoa, what happened? I was just here like 2 months ago. They changed it. Now if you smoke, you gotta pay a lot of money. Now I don't know if that's still the law, but that's just an example. Like, it just changed so fast. You know what I mean? So check it out, people. And that's basically it. If you're a Russian person watching this, now you know how it feels from the other side. So the thing is, with getting a visa to Russia, that's not the problem. Getting a visa to Russia is easy. It's once you get to Russia, things get complicated. And all that registering shit, all that is so complicated. I hope and pray the Russian government will do something to make it simpler, because it's complicated for no reason. It's complicated for no reason. If I can stay for 6 months straight, why can I only register with somebody for 3 months? That doesn't make sense. That means I can't stay with a person for 3 months. I could be doing business throughout the whole city and other cities, but mostly be with this person. Then I have to be on an invite visa, but I'm not coming here for that person. Maybe me and that person are sharing a flat. Maybe I'm paying that person. Why can't I register there for 6 months? You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's kind of strange. But everything else, I guess, is fine. And that's basically it, people. I'm out. Later.